Even though Atlas technology is very highly advanced, it's also very fragile in the fact that its security operates off of a single system. And if you have access to that system, know the code that operates behind it, and have the know-how to break it and manipulate it, well, you pretty much have free reign over the technology itself. As is the case with Watts. He's a brilliant scientist from Atlas who helped develop a lot of this technology, and by doing so, has access to this code and is knowing how to break it very easily. So essentially, all of the technology of Mantle now becomes his plaything. He's able to manipulate security, the cameras, even down to the walk signals, all with a single scroll and the push of a single button. Even the voting that was taking place that would affect the entire kingdom of Atlas, he was able to manipulate, granted with a bunch of scrolls, but that was probably only to give multiple waypoints so it wasn't tracked back to a single point that the votes were being manipulated. Like, the amount of control that this man has is insane. Luckily, Atlas is on a separate security system, an upgraded one, so currently he's not able to get access. But he's probably going to get access to Atlas by the end of Volume 7. Probably somehow through Jacques Schnee, whether it's through Jacques Schnee's connection to the Council or something with the SDC, it's probably going to be very easy for Watts to get access. And so, by the end of Volume 7, he's probably going to be able to manipulate Atlas, similar to how he's been manipulating Mantle throughout Volume 7 up until this point. And with that being the case, I'm wondering how much of technology is actually going to be able to be hacked by Watts. Obviously, everything connected to the Atlas system. Everything operating in the school, in the research labs, the Schnee Dust Company facilities, everything's going to be able to be manipulated by Watts. But the real question comes to the biotechnology. The prosthetics that are out there in Atlas, that have been developed by Atlas, most likely by Pietro, considering he has that workshop down in Mantle, that he upgrades people's technology. Now, I don't think that they operate on the same system that Atlas or Mantle operates on. I don't think he's just going to be able to walk by someone, click a button on the scroll, and have their arm come to life and strangle them or anything like that. That's not going to happen. In fact, I don't think it'd actually be possible for Watts to take control of the prosthetics themselves. But with the prosthetics, they have to come in for upgrades every now and then. We know for Maria, every decade or so, she has to come in for upgrades to her eyes. And we know that the eyes themselves have connection points so it can connect to Atlas technology. The ship, the Atlas military ship, Maria was able to just connect a wire to her eyes. Atlas technology is compatible with one another. A military ship with some civilians' eyes, doesn't seem like it should be compatible, and yet it is. They share similar ports and everything, that they are interconnected. So if Watts was able to, for example, hack into the technology of the ship, he could possibly take control of Maria's eyes. But as I said, I don't think he'd actually be able to take control of them, but upload a virus that would maybe cause them to malfunction or just turn off completely and not be able to work, which would be very problematic for people who have prosthetic limbs. Maria, obviously being blind. If it was someone like Yang, who had to come in to get upgrades for her arm, to get adjustments and everything, because I'm sure you need to make sure that they're calibrated, nothing's going wrong, that it's still sensing the nerve endings that are left in your arm properly, so it is functioning the way you want to. So if a prosthetic arm or prosthetic leg had to come in, they would probably be connected to the technology, and if they're connected to that network, even if it's just connected to a computer to test the signals that are going through it, that opens up an access point to that technology that it could be hackable. And if that's the case, they could upload a virus to it, and they could just stop working, malfunction, the programming could be completely thrown off, people's lives would be thrown in disarray. Arms would stop working, legs would stop working, very inconvenient. But the real question comes, we've talked about, before, that Penny might be taking control of, and Watts would hack into her, take control of her, and cause some real problems for Atlas and Mantle. But I think that he might go a little bit further up the food chain. Ironwood himself is half machine. At the fall of Beacon Academy, when his ship crashed and he came out in tattered clothes, we could see that the right half of that man's body is all biotechnology, including half of his torso, meaning that a lot of his essential functions within his body are probably controlled by machines. You know, on his right half of his body, there's at least a lung and half of his lower organs. So that raises a bunch of questions. First, of course, you know, what happened to him? 2, how did he survive? And 3, you know, can that be hacked? Which is the question we're going to discuss today, because we don't know the answer to the first 2. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ironwood, at least once a week, possibly even once every day, he has to go home, plug himself into a computer or network to monitor the machines that are operating the essential functions of his body, to make sure that, you know, his mechanical lung is breathing properly, that his mechanical other organs are functioning properly, so that he can continue living for the next 24 hours, next 7 days, etc. He probably has to come in for adjustments or connect himself to a network and monitor his machines a lot more frequently than Maria having to come in once a decade for her eyes, because Ironwood has a bit more of essential functions going on than, you know, just Maria's eyes. With that being the case, I would not be surprised if Watts was able to upload a virus to that. It would be very easy, in fact, if Watts got access to Atlas technology and was able to just upload a virus to Ironwood's main home network, because it likely operates off of a very similar system, or just Pietro's lab. Heck, Watts might already have access to this technology through Pietro's lab in Mantle, and everyone in Mantle, he technically could upload viruses or, you know, interfere with their technology and their biotech, their prosthetics, their arms, legs, etc., but it's just not worth it to him at this point. Ironwood is a pretty good target, though. So with that being the case, he could, if Ironwood's, you know, if it does operate off of a separate system, the half of Ironwood's body, it might need an actual system. We don't know if Ironwood's brain is part technology, because he does have the metal band above his right eyebrow. So with that being the case, is part of his head, is part of his brain potentially technology? If that's the case, then it probably operates off of a system of its own to be able to think, etc. And I wouldn't be surprised, even if it wasn't part of his brain, that just that half of his body operated off of some system on its own that needed to be monitored. So if Watts was able to get access to a computer that Ironwood was connected to, he might actually be able to take control of that half of Ironwood's body. I see that as unlikely, but he could definitely upload a virus to it. I don't know if biotech, the technology that Ironwood has as part of his body, has any security system on it. It probably does, but not as much as that of Atlas itself. So if Watts is able to get access to that, I have no doubt he'd be able to hack into Ironwood himself, shut him down, potentially just kill him just like that. Just very quickly, Ironwood would just stop working and would be on death's door immediately. We don't know how much of Ironwood's body or how much of his essential functions are operating off of the technology itself. So there's possibility that he could just end up not being able to move, having one half of his body being shut down and just essentially lifeless, while his essential functions are still moving. But if his essential functions are shut down, he could die. So it's really interesting to think about with how much technology Watts actually has access to. Whether it's only the things that are limited to connected to that system that is operated by Mantle security or by the upgraded Atlas security, how much of it will he have access to if he can gain access to that system? If other technology just connects to an access point, could Watts have a virus that's uploaded and waiting for that connection to happen? Because he would know where the access points are. Pietro's lab, essentially. All he would have to do is upload a virus there, something that wouldn't be easily detectable, so that when anyone connects to it, the virus is uploaded to them, and so on and so forth. Watts is able to make them his plaything as well, or at least shut them down at will. So I ask you guys this, do you think that's a possibility that Watts will be able to do? Do you think he'll be able to start manipulating biotechnology, the prosthetics that are out there in Atlas? Ironwood's half of his body, the essential functions in Ironwood's body, could Watts just shut them down on a whim if he was able to get to an access point, upload a virus that would then be uploaded to Ironwood? It seems fairly possible, at least in the grand scheme of things. Whether it will actually happen, is an entirely different question. But that's a question I want to hear what you guys think about down in the comments below. I look forward to hearing what you guys think and discussing with you. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want some more Ruby content. There's currently a top villains poll going on for the Ruby naughty list that will be available until midnight on December 24th. So there's still, a couple days left to vote in that. Go there, vote for your top 2 best boys, and we'll see who reaches the top of the Ruby naughty list. Results will be posted December 25th. So, with that being said, happy holidays, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of this year, and I'll see you guys in the next video.